And next on the chopping block is Near. What do you have
Wow.
for us?
So I watched Tengoku Daimakyo, also known as Heavenly Delusion.
Yes, this is
Um,
another one of the, I guess, sort of ones that were kind of up in the air, right, during the previews.
yeah,
In
yeah,
terms of
yeah.
like names. Yeah.
This is a manga original, production IG, main
Production
production.
IG, big
Um,
studio.
yeah. There's a lot of staff here. There's like 8 million producers on this.
Yeah,
Um,
again, because production IG first, like because they are like a big studio, and like ever since they kind of became like general like IG port and kind of like split off into like a billion
yeah,
different places, they tend to hire more like subcontractors and
yeah,
stuff.
for
Yeah.
sure. Um, Director, Mori Hirotaka. This seems to be his, in terms of like series director, this seems to be like his directorial debut. He was assistant
Right.
director on some stuff like the Psychopaths movie, the first one.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So he's
Sword Art
essentially like up.
Online,
They're growing
Ordinal
him within their
Scale,
production
yeah.
IG like kind
Um,
of company, right? Yeah.
it
Okay.
seems to be. Um, as for what is it? Script, series composition,
Mm-hmm.
Makoto Fukami, who's worked
Mm-hmm.
on pretty much all of Psychopaths.
Yeah,
Uh,
so they're kind of pulling from the Psychopaths connections, which is like
yeah,
one of the I guess the babies, more recent babies of like the production IG brand, and
yeah.
kind of going for
Um,
that.
yeah.
He was also on the unfortunate boat that was Berserk 2016,
Yeah,
the sinking
yeah.
boat that
Um,
was.
but I mean,
But yeah,
hey,
yeah,
yeah,
Can't
yeah.
all be winners, you know?
can't win them
Yeah,
all. And
probably
the
not his. Yeah, it's
script
not his
was
fault. Yeah,
certainly the least
not
of
his.
Berserk's issues.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of Psychopath staff.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You want to talk about the original creator here? Ishiguro Masakazu, I believe.
yeah, he's done a couple stuff. I was looking
Mhm.
around. It seems to be he did some sort of
He's most known for well known probably for and yet the town moves, right? So the
yes,
Materu, which is quite I don't know if I would even say like a niche, like cult classic slash niche hit. It was pretty popular, right? So
definitely.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, a good manga as well.
Hmm.
Um, he's also done a good handful of one shots.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Art for some other stuff.
Uh-huh.
Did some
Eizoken,
weird
Desumo
like I Am a
Gatari-san.
Hero
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
anthology thing. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty much uh yeah, the Tammuz and this for the most part, right?
Hmm.
Um, in terms of general, I guess plot setup, I'll probably just read the synopsis here because I don't want to spoil too much. As this is
Okay.
a mystery series, so 15 years ago, disaster struck human civilization, and now dangerous man-eating monsters roam the ravaged lands, posing an existential threat to the remaining survivors. Amid this turmoil, an isolated facility shelters children and nurtures them in peace. However, as few among them find out about the world beyond the narrow periphery of their nursery's walls, their curiosity about it slowly grows. Meanwhile, in the outside world, young survivors Maru and Kiriko band together to search for a special place called Heaven, each for their own reasons. Carrying past burdens and tragic secrets, the two hope to find answers to the cruelty they've experienced in their lives and in the world, which still remains in tatters. So this is a post-apocalyptic Japan, sort of adventure series with a very heavy mystery backing. Um,
Can you define post-apocalyptic a little bit more in detail?
I mean,
And
it
which
it is
Are
a
we talking?
post-apocalyptic
is
series. The buildings, like there is no government. Um,
like I Am
resources are
Legend kind of just
scarce.
like
Pretty
like
much, yeah.
Yeah, like
okay,
Last of Us type
Yeah,
shit
basically like a
okay,
with
Last
okay.
of
like
Us type
commune
world.
like cities
Yeah,
Okay,
and
there
we're
are
shit.
there
okay.
are there are a couple outposts scattered here and there,
So we're
but for
talking
the most part,
post-COVID, right?
Let's go.
So we're still
yeah,
in the COVID era right now.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, this is very, very post-apocalyptic. Um, and so the main, I guess, uh, two storylines, right, is you have the
Hmm.
two main characters, Maru, which is the male lead, and then Kiriko, which is the female lead, and they're sort of traveling together. Um, Maru is tasked with the um, objective to find a location somewhere in Japan that's dubbed as Heaven. Um, and when he arrives there, he's supposed to find somebody that looks just like him, um, and inject them with some sort of mysterious drug that he's not sure what it does. Um, that is sort of the end goal. And then the other parallel storyline going on here is the facility, which is sort of a um, what was that series called with the kids where they're locked up in the paradise something? I don't remember. But yeah, it's basically a bunch of kids are in this sort of scientific facility. They're being monitored and taken care of. Um, and there's stuff going on. They're sort of questioning what's on the outside world. Um, who they are, what they are, that kind of stuff. Um, and I'll say my initial gripe with this series is that these two storylines are very much not connected at all.
It's
Um,
not like that one. What is it? There was that one, the Fire Hunters, right?
yeah,
Recently, it's like
yeah,
where they were pretty well connected. It's like this one is just like,
yeah. They are well. So the viewer is meant to initially see. I'm kind of skeptical that these two storylines are happening at the same time, like at the same time period. Um, you know what I mean? Because there's nothing to, like the storyline with the facility is very much like there's nothing to really ground you as to where or when this is taking place. Um, so I haven't read ahead in terms of like what happens in the manga or anything. So I could just be speaking out of my ass here. Um, if anybody has read the manga and knows, but the way I'm sort of looking at it is um, one of the potential reasons that um, the the facility storyline feels so isolated is that it's in the past in relation to our two main characters that are in
oh,
sort of
okay.
the post-apocalyptic um, adventure that they're having, and um, maybe more will be revealed later. But so far, the only like hints that have really been dropped um, that are potentially connecting like the scientific facility storyline with the post-apocalyptic storyline is there's one character that uh like his main hobby is like drawing stuff that sort of like you know springs into his imagination, right? And obviously being completely isolated in this facility, he draws some weird shit. um
Okay.
and a couple of the things that he has drawn that we've seen actually show up as the man-eating monsters in the post-apocalyptic um, storyline, right?
Okay.
One of the
What
main
the fuck?
things
Okay.
being he draws this fish that has like human hands, right? Um,
Okay.
and pretty much the episode immediately after that, the big monster that our two main characters have to deal with is a fish with human hands, right? Um,
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
like a huge fish with human hands. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm assuming either like this is some sort of thing where the scientific facility storyline has either happened in the past and something's happened and that storyline is sort of leading up into explaining what exactly this cataclysmic event was, or it's some sort of weird other dimensional shit where like these sets of characters are in sort of like parallel universes and somehow they're like affecting each other. I don't know what's going on. There's some weird mystery bullshit going on.
Okay.
It's very much like because like the scientific facility stuff is very like you know it's a
Are
bit
they?
it's a bit cliched in the way it sort of presents itself as because when you think of a lot of mystery series involving like a scientific organization, it's kind of
Mhm.
checking all of those notes. You know what I mean? Um,
So
there's
my question is also this is kind of like a more abstract question, but is the author expecting you with these sorts of like hints and like for or foreshadowing and stuff like that, or is the author expecting you to kind of potentially solve the puzzle beforehand, like some sort of like Furuhata Nizaburo kind of thing, right?
I don't think
Or
so.
is
I don't think so.
or yeah, so it's essentially going to be more of like what I call like a detective series, right? Where at the end they're going to be like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
of course,
I
blah
think a
blah
lot
blah
of
blah
it's
blah.
going to be some vague hints and you can sort of theory craft as, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But at the end,
Mhm.
you know, I very much feel like this is probably going to pull some absolutely insane shit out of its ass and be like, yeah, actually, this was happening all
Yeah.
along. And, whether they pull that off well or not, remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Um, again, I haven't I haven't looked into like the big reveals of the manga because I am actually enjoying this series quite a bit. Um, so I kind of wanted to just watch along. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, so that's kind of like my main gripe with the series, right? And that's really, if I'm gonna be completely honest, my only gripe, right, is that
Okay.
these storylines are sort of disconnected, right? Um, Pretty much everything else about this series, I kind of love. I kind of really, really like this show. Um, the characters are all very likable, especially the two mains. Um, the post-apocalyptic storyline is really like I almost want to call it like the modern Kino's journey with the way it's sort of set up. Like they have a goal, but
Okay.
it is very much like, they sort of stumble along some sort of an outpost or a couple of survivors. You sort of learn their story, right? And then
So is the then can I ask a real quick question? So the whole like finding the heaven and whatever the fuck, that's not I mean that like that's part of the lore in the story, but as like a time limited objective, it's not very important in terms of spurring on the series. Is that what you're getting at?
not particularly, no. So
Okay.
the main like I guess focuses of these two characters in this post-apocalyptic world is sort of I guess it like exploring each other's backstories and sort of grappling with their own past, um
Okay.
getting to know each other, um bonding, stuff like that. So the main like dynamic, and I don't really want to spoil stuff. I do think um the less you know about this series going in, the better. Um, but sort of the main dynamic that's set up pretty early on is that the male lead, Maru, sort of falls in love with um, the female lead, right? And he sort of confesses pretty early on. Um, and the female lead is kind of like, well, I have my own circumstances regarding my past where it's like I can't do that, like that can't happen. Um, and then they sort of have to uh, I guess grapple with that dynamic where you know the guy sort of has to deal with his feelings in regards to this revelation as to whether he, still feels these feelings or, whether he can get over them or not, stuff like that. And then he has to grapple with his past and, this weird, mysterious power he has to be able to kill these weird monsters with because he can kill these monsters by touching them, but it's not really explored why. Um, there's a lot of mystery stuff happening here, but it's explored in a very sort of um, just exploring like a backstory kind of thing, and it's done very slowly, very methodically, um, as they adventure through this post-apocalyptic Japan. They meet these other survivors. They talk to them about their pasts and their stories and their journeys as well, and it's all really really good. Um, and
Is
then
this 12 episodes, by the way? Or is this
uh,
24?
this is 13 episodes, but yeah, um, it's a 12 episode. Um, but yeah,
Um, do you think it's going to? So, give me a prediction for how you think what the general structure of the ending is series, because you said it was a little bit more like a Kingdom Tabi kind of general journey kind of thing. So, are they going to run off into the sunset, or like what's?
I'm honestly not too sure because I don't know. I don't know if this might maybe set up for a second core or not.
Uh-huh.
Because I think we're eight. I've watched 8 episodes, right? Um, and there have been some pretty big revelations, right? But they don't really seem like that much closer to finding this heaven. They seem to be getting closer and closer to um finding one of the ulterior objectives that Kiriko has, which is the long-haired girl, um, which is sort of like a side objective that they're pursuing. Um, but in terms of the heaven end goal, they don't really seem to be getting all that much closer, to be honest.
Right.
Um, so I'm not too sure if this will
And they're not
maybe.
really focusing on the episodes aren't
Uh-huh.
right. The the episodes aren't as focused on like the whole we need to find heaven kind of stuff, right?
No, not really. I mean, obviously, they're that is their focus, right? Obviously everything they do in terms of exploring and going up along their journey is to further that goal, but it's not like a there's no time limit that they have or anything, you know what I mean? Or they need to get there by a certain time or anything. Um, but yeah, it is very much. I'm not too sure what the ending of this season is going to be. Um, I have a feeling, at the very least, um, the sort of scientific facility storyline is definitely going to come to some sort of head, some sort of climax. Um, stuff is sort of ramping up there, but in terms of the post-apocalyptic adventuring aspect, it is still sort of a semi-episodic adventure series. So it's an interesting dynamic, um, and you know the balance for it is a bit lopsided. It's 70% of the episode is sort of dedicated to the post-apocalyptic storyline, and then the rest is kind of oh yeah, things are happening in this scientific facility. Um,
Okay.
Although personally, I don't mind that balance because the scientific facility stuff is a little bit less interesting, to be honest. Um, some of the characters are interesting. Some of the mystery going on is a little bit intriguing, but for the most part, I feel like it's not it's not contributing a lot to the series. You know what I mean? It's kind of just there, and you're like, oh yeah, this is neat, but you know, I don't want to say that oh, this series would be so much better if it was a different series or anything. But I think if this was just a post-apocalyptic adventure series, this would honestly I would really not have that many issues calling this like a masterpiece. Like just straight up. The character interactions and the character writing is phenomenal.
So it's
I
more
haven't
just
even
like
gotten to the audio visuals, by the way.
Yeah, which IG is like 99% quite solid.
Yeah, I mean this is a production IG production, right? But I haven't seen production IG be this on top of their game in a very long time. This show is like absolutely gorgeous, right? From everything, from the
Oh.
character animation to the backgrounds to the digital effects used. Like this show is like cinematic is like the one word I
Wow.
would use to describe this show. It is like almost perfect, like absolutely perfect to what you would expect for a post-apocalyptic like vibe in an anime. Everything from the
Mhm.
color palette to the thickness of the lines. It is absolutely gorgeous. Definitely one of the best looking production IG shows to come out in a very long time. Um, and yeah, like if this series sort of cut like the mystery dynamic and it
The
really
beginning premise
focused,
out, essentially.
yeah, like I could, I don't really want to say that because like the show as it is good, right? Um, but there's always like as I'm watching this, there's always been this sort of little thought in the back of my head where it's like, if this wasn't a mystery series, this would be a masterpiece, like just straight up.
I think the author is like obviously has like good ideas. It wouldn't be this good of a show, right? But it's like um it's kind of similar to and yet this town moves, right? It's very like there's a part of it that's kind of similar almost to something like Welcome to the NHK or like Fully Cooley, where it's like it's just like the authors are saying it's got to be weird. Like some part of it just has to be weird, like
Yeah,
for no reason. And it's like it's fine being weird, but it would also be nice if you had a little bit of a reason for it. You know, where it's like
yeah, and
some parts are kind of
I'm
just
sure
there.
those reasons will come to fruition
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. A
in the
lot of those
latter
reasons will
parts
also.
of this series. It's just right now it's hard to really see the value. You know what I mean? Um, it's not to say that it's bad. Like it's not to say that oh, like all these mystery aspects of this show suck. Like they are interesting,
Yeah,
and they do keep you engaged. Um, but it's just this, you know, this little
a little
feeling
bit
in the
out of
back of my head
place.
that's
Yeah.
like, if this just had a slightly different trajectory, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But yeah, overall, I think this is phenomenal. I think this is a really good show. I really hope it doesn't shit itself in like the last quarter here. Um, but I don't really see it doing that. Um, all the setup so far has been pretty smart. Um, all the little tidbits here and there have panned out, pretty well. They're not like overbearing with foreshadowing like a lot of mystery series are.
Mhm.
Um, you know, it's good. Um,
Would you say that it's like obviously you've had a lot of praise. It is like on par with a major series, something like Spy Family, whatever. General overall quality.
yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I just wanted to kind of like impart to obviously listeners out there that this might be something to really watch out for on the radar, even if it's not something like Chainsaw Man or I mean. So
Yeah.
okay.
Um, but yeah, overall, I highly recommend. Um,
Mhm.
you know, even if you're not necessarily super into mystery series, this is definitely worth checking out.
Treat it again more with more focus on like the Keenan Tabi
Yeah, it
post-apocalyptic
is
kind of
more an
setting
adventure series,
vibe.
and also, if you're, if you hear like something like a Kino no Tabi, a more adventure series, this show definitely doesn't lack for action. There are still giant monsters that kill people in this show.
Yeah.
And
So
the action is very well paced. It's incredibly well animated.
Yeah, I mean, it's production IT.
The monster designs in this are really strange, and they're really cool. Yeah, like this series, like I really can't think of a way to not recommend this show. It's just overall good in my opinion.
So Nier, is it better than Terraform Mars?
Yes.
How strong are these bugs we're talking?
They're not bugs. They're kind of just general monsters. Some of them are a little bit bug-like, but they're pretty strong.
I saw some cool scene with the bugs swarming that one character. That was cool.
Yeah. So the first one they fight is this giant like bird, but he's got like these like supersonic like whip antennas that are able to like cut people in half, and he like cuts people up into like little pieces and then like dissolves the pieces to like eat people. They're very strange designs, but they're really cool.
So you're saying there's vor in this series, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. If you're into that, I guess.
Anyway, I guess any last words? I guess that was it.
I mean, last words. The OP for this is sung by Bish, who's a very cool group. The OP is also absolutely gorgeous. It's got this very cool style where they kind of have like no. A lot of the cuts, like the characters don't really have lines. It's kind of just like solid colors. It's very cool style, very cool OP. The ED is also very stylish. Yeah, just watch the show. It's really good.
Watch the goddamn anyway. All right. Anyways, thank you very much.
Oh yeah, Nier, what's your rating?
As of right now, I'd probably give it an 8.5.
What's it better and worse
than? I don't know.
You said better than Terraform Mars. What's it worse than?
I don't know. I don't know what other post-apocalyptic series have come out.
Bubuki Baranki?
I mean, yeah, this is probably better than Bubuki Barangi, but those are very different shows.
What about that one earthquake anime? What's it called?
Like Tokyo Magnitude 8 or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably better than that.
What about blood? What about a blood?
What, Kekai Sensen? Or what?
Yeah.
I'd probably.
It's not really a post-apocalypse, but
I mean, in a way, sort of, not really. But either way, I'd probably put Kekai Sensen above it. But yeah.
Oh. So
Yeah.
better than Zodiac. What is it? Stupid Zodiac War. What is it called?
What, the Necromantis or what?
Oh.
But anyways, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Nier.
Whatever. Sounds like it's a must-wow watch. Nier.
Yeah.
So wait, is it better than what is it? The other series you reviewed?
What?
Shigokuraku?
Yeah. Are they
Yes.
on par with each other? Really? I heard.
I mean,
Jikokudaku's
you
really,
heard
really
me.
good, though.
You heard me cover Jikokudaku. Like, all I had, like, literally all I had to say about it was like, it's not bad, but it's the most generic thing I've ever fucking watched. Like,
I've heard nothing
people
but
were
praises
disappointed
about it,
with
though.
your review, Nier. How
mean,
dare
you
you?
yeah,
be
Toast. People fucking praised and cut like 80 million YouTube videos. I'm like, dude, I'm reacting to the opening of Jigoku Raku, and literally the only thing about the opening that stand out in Jigoku Raku is Shina Ringo and fucking
Yeah, pretty much.
whoever the fuck she's with. I don't even remember anymore. I like the band too, and I
like
don't remember.
people can disagree with my Jigoku Raku review. Really, all I have to say is watch more than 5 anime, please.
Listen, man, as the biggest fan of My Hero Academia, I think that Jigoku Raku is
Yeah.
even cooler.
Yes. Anyways, thank you, Nier, for helping to cover Heavenly Delusion, also known as Tengoku Daimakyo. So that is the manga adaptation, or sorry, the anime adaptation of the manga original, done by Production IG plus 50 other contractors. But apparently, Production IG pulled some pretty good people in this time around to do it. The original creator being, of course, Ishiguro Masakazu, who also did, who is also most famous for his previous work, And Yet the Town Moves, also known as Sore de Materu, which was also quite the popular hit back in its days.
Yeah.
So please do check it out. Again, this more like, obviously it starts out as a mystery and it kind of has that premise, but as Nier said, it's more of a Kinontabi adventure kind of monster du jour kind of thing, also coming in and kind of, you know, giving it kind of a more thrilling vibe. So please do check it out if you like that sort of thing, if you like the action, if you do like kind of the general journey kind of aspect of it as well.